We're switching over to YouTube now.
Good morning, HTB Beauty. This is Stylist from the Back Room. I'm Eddie. You're John.
I'm John.
And we've got fun-filled news. We got some rants. We got some product spotlights. And we got some education to share with you. So we're going to get right into it.
Absolutely. Good morning. We'll start out with some news from Salon Today.
Do you need the bum, 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 bum?
Yeah, give me the bum. Aren't there sound effects on this thing too? No, don't do it.
I'm going to find
it.
it.
There are. You'll probably give me the duck quacking sound. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You're a good dude. So, a bunch of reports came out in Salon Today for 2023. And so I cherry picked a couple of them for us. The biggest one is,
We're in 24.
No, but we're in 2024, but this is for what we saw in 2023.
Oh, gotcha.
You haven't changed your calendar, have you?
No.
Yeah. You're the kind of guy that still writes 2023 on checks too right now, right?
Writing 2020.
Anyway,
shift slightly to your left before you start giving these statistics.
There we go. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Feel better about life now?
Yeah.
So they came out with us demographics for salon clients. The biggest demographic that we see in the salon right now, according to Salon Today, is customers 55 and older make up 25.4% of our salon revenue in the U.S. This is U.S. salons. This isn't worldwide.
25 and older?
55 and older.
Oh, 55 and older make up 25% of the revenue.
Right. Okay. Just to give you an idea of what you're seeing come through the door. Now, some of us have, an older clientele. Some of us have a younger clientele. But they took all the salons and they pulled them and they crunched these numbers. The leading demographic for salon people that come in and out of the salon and use our services is wait, I lost my notes. There we go. 25 to 34 age range. They're the ones with the most disposable income. They found
they're the ones with the most disposable income, but 55 and older is 25% of the revenue.
Right.
That's huge, man. So that's all your gray hair touch-ups.
Those are all your gray hair touch-ups. And really, I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of my mid-range clients from that 25 to 34 demographic are actually starting to get those sparkles and they want them gone. They don't even want to deal with them.
So
they become a big and highlights, using highlights to blend and things like that. That is really what we're seeing more and more of. It's an interesting statistic just to keep in the back of your head, especially when you start wanting to do promotions and things like that. So at least you know who you're talking to and you're not just casting a net out there and praying for the best. So that's why I always like these little tidbits. And here's a fun one. Here's a great one.
Okay.
For anybody who's involved in our industry, and especially if you are an operator. Hair salon market in 2023 rose to $46.2 billion. Billion.
That's the hair
billion.
side. That's the hair side.
The hair side.
Nice.
Okay? The hair salon market, which means what falls under hair salon market. So that falls under your distributors, that falls under your products, that falls under what the revenue we're creating in the salon itself. That's huge. That's $46.2 billion. That's awesome. I mean, anybody who's operating behind a chair right now should feel really, really good about that. Yeah. And especially with all the changes that our industry has gone through, that we're still pulling that kind of revenue. That's huge. That's huge.
So then when you're targeting towards your clients, you have your 55 and older, you can target to them in one way. It's still a valid source of income. 25 to 34, you could target to them a very specific way. That's still a valid source of income as well too. And then all the services that you provide still are viable. So you can pick and choose which services you like and don't like, and each one of those services are still viable as well.
And you could also actually take these age ranges, go on the TikTok or internet or whatever it is, and actually see what they're going to be coming to you looking for. Really get an idea of the trends that are going to be coming that way. So you are prepared and be like, yeah, sure, I can do that, or I've got a twist on that. You put your own stamp on it, but I think that's going to help you in marketing. Now here's the fun ones: salon trends in 2024, and I know this one is your favorite. There are right now. There's just a handful of them. AI powered virtual try-ons for your clients, where you can take an AI and say, Sally Smith, who, has hair down to the middle of her back and she's talking about a chin length bob. You can actually take AI, take her picture, put a chin length bob on her, and it looks very realistic. So you can actually get an idea of what it's going to look like and I think that's going to save salons in the long run.
And I know you believe funny about that, because so in the early 2000s,
yes,
everybody was like, oh, Y2. So a little history lesson for the youngsters. When the year 2000 came around, it was referred to as Y2K. There was this huge scare about Y2K. Everybody thought the world was going to end because the bankers couldn't figure out how to move a decimal point. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, nobody was ever going to be able to write a check anymore. Nobody was ever going to be able to do anything anymore. And
all our computers were going to be, just paperweights because, it wasn't going to be able to switch over. And then if you also remember in the early 2000s, there was a salon program.
That's what
where you could snap a picture of your client and then basically it just photoshopped a hairstyle on them.
It was so rudimentary back then. It was hysterical. It didn't work for nothing, but we had more fun with clients just making a fool out of ourselves and themselves trying to figure out how to work the stupid program.
Yeah.
But what was amazing about it is it gave insight and it gave credibility that change is okay and that you can have fun. You should have fun with your look. You shouldn't just get stuck in one look.
Right.
Now, that software has improved tremendously, leaps and bounds over the years, to the point where now, with AI being the next thing, and until Arnold comes and takes us all out on Judgment Day, until then we can enjoy this a little bit, because this AI thing is love it or hate it, man. It's
here. And yeah, the machines are going to take over.
He did say, "I'll be back." Right?
I'll be back.
Yeah.
The cool thing about that, we had that in the salon I was in at the time, and the cool thing was people would see the photoshopped haircut, and they'd be like, "Yeah." But you used to be able to choose colors too. So we started using that for color consultation, so at least they could get an idea of what their complexion looked like with the color.
When I would paint the house, I would use it to paint the house. Those colors were so saturated. I'm telling you, man, back then that thing, it was a lot of fun. I poo-pooed on it a lot, but it was a lot of fun. But looking at that program now, that company, they're still around. They've made leaps and bounds. They've done it. It is better than it's ever been.
Right.
And it's cool. It's really cool. I'm glad they stuck with it. I guess I don't feel bad about poo-pooing on it, but now I have to give them credit. They've done phenomenal work.
Right. And now also on the heels of that, for those of you that use dispensary programs,
to create your formulas, your color formulas,
to create formulas and things like that, they're coming out with AI-based dispensary, dispensing where you'll be able to do color and everything, and it's the same mixture time after time after time again. There's no more it's all done by weight based. There's no more paying attention to the tick marks on the tube. Everything is
so for consistent formulas, it's going to be able to disperse you an even amount of formula each and every time.
Right. And as someone who, I ran a color department for a long time, and now being an independent, I weigh everything because that was beaten into my brain. But I worked with people who would just, and I know my owner used to lose his mind about it. And now, because I'm paying the bills now too, I'm very conscious of it. So I think this is going to help also with profitability, really, for salons, because I know the biggest complaint in the world is how much color goes down the drain after the application.
Oh, you've made fun of me plenty of times because I'm sitting there wringing every single drop out of that bottle.
I've watched you take a tube paper thin. And actually, you're the one and because of you now, I have that not just a tube key, it's a tube squeezer. It's got the two wheels on it. It's actually a dentist use it. And
for the toothpaste.
Oh my God. Yeah. That thing's awesome. You can get it on Amazon for like $12. It'll say it, and you get everything out of the tube.
You get everything out of it, man. If I could, if I had the time, I would slit the tube open in half, and I would take a squeegee.
But I learned that from you. But I learned that from you years ago. Really being mindful of what you're mixing. But once again, it's all comes down to bottom line, and also because with these AI enhanced programs, you're going to be able to do precise formulas time and time and time again, and you're leaving nothing to chance. For those of you that and I get the other side of it. I do get the other side of it of, well, you're taking away the creativity, blah 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 blah. Yeah, you're creative, you're an artist, but you're also a business person come the end of the day, which segues into my next news piece, which he can't wait. Look at him. E-commerce stores. You can now take your website and add an e-commerce store to it for your clients to purchase, whatever shampoo, conditioner, whatever styling product, whatever products you offer. You can now set it up through your personal website or through your social media, where they can go right to your e-commerce store and it'll be shipped directly to your client. So they still get that Amazon feeling. And there's two sides to it, and we're going to get into that shortly, I know, but it is a way to increase your profitability even more. And I know there's going to be people out there that are like, well, I'm not a salesperson. I don't do retail sales, blah, 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 blah. I get that. We're not making fun of you. We all have our strengths, our weaknesses, and what we like to do and what we don't like to do. I know a couple of really successful stylists who are like, yeah, just bring it up on Amazon. Me personally, I pay my rent with my retail sales. So
it's an ambassador referral program. Reach out to your local distributor, see if they are willing to work with you on that. A lot of distributors now are so they'll give you a referral code. You'll get a QR code. You'll be able to connect that and link that with your e-commerce website, and then your distributor will work with you on that. Definitely for further details, definitely speak to them about that and see if they are willing and if they have a referral, online
e-commerce site,
ambassador program site, e-commerce site.
Yeah.
So definitely work with them on that. The thing what you're talking about when you say I'm an artist, I'm not a salesperson. It's something that you and I have heard, because you and I have done a lot of shows. We've done a lot of hair shows. We've done a lot of programs. And there's always guest artists that fly in as well. We've always brought in guest artists as well. And then you and I have taught a lot of classes. and a lot of hands-on classes, and we see a lot of hairdressers come in, and a lot of hairdressers got that same mentality as well. I'm an artist. I'm not a salesperson. Well, I love my expressions. And I go, so you're a starving artist? And they're like, no, I'm an artiste. I'm like, you're a starving artist. You're a piece of crap is what you are. If you're not a salesperson, and that's my rant. That's my rant, because if you are not selling the whole artistry to your client, then what are you doing for them? What experience are they leaving with? Now, I'm not saying be a dirty, sleazy salesman. I'm not saying be that either. And you're just trying to load up your client to make them buy stuff for the sake of buying stuff. But even if you don't sell any physical retail bottle, right? Say you don't sell a shampoo, a conditioner, or anything. If you don't even sell yourself that you're an artist, then what reason do they have to come back? What experience did you give them then? So what does that expression mean? I'm an artist. I'm not a salesperson. It makes me mental. That expression makes me mental.
I get that. I've dealt with a lot of back when I was training a lot of young stylists, and they're like, and they would always be like, oh, I'm not a salesperson. And I used to tell them all the time, yes, you are. And look, I don't get it. And I'm like, what don't you get? I don't understand what you're saying. You're selling yourself. You're selling your ability. You're selling your skills. You're selling your personality. And that used to drive me crazy. And then I had to break it down into math for them, which a lot of people don't want to do math. I've seen you struggle with math. But
I have 10 fingers. If it don't fit, then it's too much, too many numbers. I come from the Y2K area. I couldn't figure out the decimal. I couldn't move a decimal over one spot.
So the bottom line with it is why are you leaving money on the table? Why would you leave that money on the table? I've even gone so far as in have clients who I tell them, they take the product off my shelf and they'll snap a picture of it. And I'll be like, what are you doing? And they're like, well, I'm going to buy it on Amazon. I'm like, how much are you going to pay for it on Amazon? And they'll be like, whatever, $18.95, whatever. And I'd be like, I'll sell it to you right now for $18.95. And you get to put it in a bag and take it home with you, and you get to shampoo your hair with it tomorrow morning. Why are you going to wait for Amazon to deliver it, even if it's next day delivery? I said, plus, you're helping a small business person out by doing this. And all of a sudden, a lot of them, I see the light go on in their head. Some of them, they want that Amazon box on their doorstep. They need that feeling of Christmas morning. I get that. I understand that. But I've even tried to price match, because it's not really that less expensive than it is buying it from us. And so the e-commerce store, you and I went round and round about this when we first started talking about it. And my thought process with an e-commerce store was always, I'd rather have a percentage of something than 100% of nothing. But then after our conversation, I really sat back and thought to myself, and I went, I've really lost what I used to preach. And that was, if you're a professional, your clients should be buying those products from you. Your doctor writes you a prescription. You don't go to, Dollar General to get your prescription filled, right? You go to Walgreens where they're professional. You go to CVS. I don't know,
man, with the prices nowadays, if that was an option, maybe.
True. But you kind of swayed me with that. Because once again, being an independent, for those of us that are independents, and you don't have a lot of storage space. So I think for that, the e-commerce makes sense. But also, I think that also for even if you're a salon owner, sometimes the e-commerce will make sense for you. And it's just another revenue. You can use it as another revenue stream.
But that's what it is. It's yours. You're not relying on somebody else. It's yours. You are doing your job. If the client is coming to you to get their hair done, they are relying on you to help them set them up for success for them to be able to maintain their own hair at home as well until they come back to see you once again. And if that's not getting done, then we're not doing our jobs, you know, and that's really my biggest hang up with all of this. If they're not excited about their own haircut because you're, you know, too big of an ego to even sell them on the haircut that they're getting, yeah, it's messed up, man. You know, and now you did give them that. Okay, fine. You're an artist. You gave them that beautiful haircut, that beautiful hair color, that beautiful hair extension, that beautiful smoothing, whatever style. If they can't go home and duplicate it, if they can't replicate what you did for them, then really, what are we doing?
Right.
And I don't know, when clients come back to the salon and they say, oh, it never looks as good at home as it does when you do it. You know, like I can never do it as good as you do it at home. That's an insult, man. That's a failure. I take that as a failure. I did not explain something correctly. I missed the mark somewhere. That's the way I take it. You know, the best look is going to be, I want the client to come back and say, holy cow, I get so many compliments. The only reason they're going to get compliments is because they're styling their hair nicely. And it's truly showing off the beautiful angles and the beautiful color and the beautiful artistry that was created on them. But again, it's only because they themselves became artistic enough to style their hair to be able to show off that beautiful sculpture that was created on them.
Right. You're 100% correct with that. Also, if you're not using my products, I'm still old school with it, and I don't guarantee my service if you're not using my products. I'm not going to guarantee it. That goes with smoothing, that goes with color, that goes with my extension clients. If they're not following the care to a T, I'm not, you know, I'm going to charge you if you need it tightened up or what have you.
How many haircuts are there?
There's 4 haircuts.
Okay. If there's only 4 basic haircuts, how many layer angles are there? You got to think about that for a second, right? You got your 0, your 45, 90, and
everything in between.
135, 180, right? So if you've got 5 angles and 4 basic haircuts, how do we have 1,000 different haircut styles? It's the way you combine those basic haircuts and those angles together.
Right.
How many product options are there out there? Right? There's thousands of different products out there. Why?
$46.2 billion worth.
Okay. That's perfect. That is perfect. So there is a style, there is a combination of a haircut and an angle for every single person, and how we create and mix and match those. There's $46 billion worth of retail out there, and how we recommend how to use the specific ones that we have, that we've done the custom tailoring of the haircut and the angle to achieve the look on you. It's a very specific formula. It's a very specific recipe, however you want to look at it as. That is yours and yours alone. That you have an individual look that nobody else has. Even if you think you're trying to copy somebody else, it doesn't matter, because not 2 people have the same hair texture, density, or porosity. It could be similar, but never the same. Everybody has a very unique imprint, like a snowflake. You know, everybody is a snowflake in their own way. So it's that formula, that recommendations that we give, it's very custom tailored to you individually, to you very specifically.
Right. And
you
then
you got to sell that.
And it's our job to educate our clients how to use that product and how to style their hair. I have done it where I have said, I've had clients come back and go, it never, like you said, it never looks as good as when you do it. And I said, well, you know what? Let's book an appointment. Let me show you how to style your hair. And I'll show them and then have them do it, because us doing this is a whole lot different from them doing this, right? So, and you help them, and you also help them, with the ergonomics of it too. Of no, do it this way. It's less, less stress on you or what have you. And especially now with a lot of high-end heat tools being available to our clients, they're not just flaming their hair with a, with a Walmart blow dryer,
they actually are using professional products now.
Yeah, and your favorite was the flat iron bought at the kiosk in the mall.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, it's absolutely amazing watching them dudes sell those things. The bottom line is, if you're not selling to them, somebody else is. And somebody
100%.
else is going to sell them something that goes against what you are trying to achieve for them and what you are trying to maintain for them. And it's going to mess up all your work. So you are not creating any artistry whatsoever. You're just being a mechanic trying to correct and fix each and every time. You're doing a corrective on your own work each and every time.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And then also brought into that, once again, this all falls back into, and you'll hear me say it 1,000 times, and I know you preach it too, is this all falls into consultation. Consultation. And in that consultation, you lay your groundwork for your client to start using what you want them to use. And that, it's, as simple as you said it, it's doing your job. Well, it's not a job. It's, whatever. It's doing your job and doing it to the best of your ability and taking your client's needs into consideration when you do that consultation. It's not what do I have a bunch of on the shelf that I can dump off on my clients. It's what does the client's hair need? And the hair will tell you what it needs. Like you always tell people in the wintertime, their hair goes out like this because it's dry and it's looking for moisture, right? Yes. I've used that so many times and recommended a hydrating this, a hydrating that. I'm being assaulted by my dog. And it works to a T. It really, really works to a T. And it's us being professional and giving them professional recommendations. You're right.
That's it. That's totally it.
And just to put everything on and put a nice bow on this, e-commerce is a opportunity for you to have another revenue stream come in to you. And I am one, you and I have always talked about this. I've been broke. I was broke for a long time. So any and all money that comes my way, I grab it any way I can, short of being, I always make sure I'm ethical about it, but always put money in my pocket, 100%.
Yeah.
So now
product spotlight.
Here you go. So do the intro, and then we'll tell our story.
So the product spotlight this week is going to be from All Nutrient. It's one of our color brands. It's a certified organic based color line. They have a permanent color. They have a demi-permanent color line. They have full range of colors available as well. In particular, the product spotlight that we're going to talk about from All Nutrient this week is going to be on a very specific shade of color, which is 10CS. It's a new shade of color that they have launched in the Slate series. For those of you that are not familiar, the Slate series has a blue olive base. It's very ashy. And up until now, they've only had level 2 CS, level 4 CS, level 6 CS, and level 8 CS. So now with the addition of level 10, it is opening up a lot of creative opportunities when it comes to toning, especially with handling extremely brassy results that are trying to be corrected. It has extremely fun creative applications. It's going to be making platinum blondes and the platinum cards a lot more simplified to be able to achieve those kind of looks. And for gray coverage, for people who want to either grow their natural gray out, or their unpigmented hair, or they want to remain unpigmented, but they want to look as natural as possible. This also opens up a lot of creative opportunity for that as well, too. The Slate series has been what do you call it? Like a labor of love for us. over the years.
It has been a labor of love. It is. I think that you have to understand all nutrient in its purest form. First off, it's a certified organic based color. It has a micropigmentation system that is second to none. The dye load that is in this color is huge. So this was, I don't remember how many years ago, but there were years ago when they first launched the CS line, the cool slate. Like Eddie said, it's a blue violet, blue olive. Okay, so we get the tubes, and it's right around, back then it was still Midwest show. We get the tubes, and the tubes aren't even, they're written on in Sharpie. They didn't even have the labels on them yet. And they're like, you guys got to use these. You got to try them. Tony from All Nutrient was there, who is just as insane as we are about hair color. And so we got a double processed blonde. And we bring her back down. She's all shampooed out. She was like a nice level 10, clear level 10.
The model that we had, we double processed her.
Yeah, we double processed her. So Tony's like, oh, here, we'll just put 8 CS on her. Level 8. Now,
cool slate.
Remember this? Yeah, cool slate. So we mix it up, we put it on her. Now, and this was back when it was still at McCormick Place, right? We're down in the classroom.
Yep. Now,
we put it on her.
What we didn't realize is blue olive means blue-green.
Yes.
Which means teal.
So we put it on her, and literally 8 minutes into the processing time, I dab a little off, and I'm like, Eddie, come here. And literally, she was teal. So we've got to hustle her from the classroom down 2 escalators to the shampoo bowls, which were back behind where the model rooms are. I mean, it was a good 8-minute walk, and I'm a gimp, and so it's a lot longer than that. So, so we're going up the escalator, and as we're going up the escalator, I'm standing behind her, and I'm looking at this hair as it's going from teal now, because the blue is really taking over, to Smurf blue. And I'm like, oh my goodness. We get her back to the shampoo bowl. We shampoo her off. If anybody does fantasy colors, it was the perfect fantasy royal blue. That's how much dye stuff's in this color. We are just, and you and I looked at each other, and we're like, we can't bleach this out again, because, we're like, okay, well, we're featuring a fantasy color today. And that's just a little backstory about the CSs, but how strong
3 years
the dye.
Later, when it finally washed out, it was the perfect blonde.
But now transversely with 10CS, when you sent me the 10CS.
Well, before 10CS though.
Before 10CS, I was taking 8CS, and I was doing like 5-to-1 dilutions with clear, with the 0-stroke 0-0, and with 10-20, sometimes even 30 volume for toning, and still with all that dye stuffs, it was amazing toning. So now what they did is they took 10, and it is absolutely beautiful straight out of the tube. It is also beautiful. You can dilute it a little bit. I did that with the first time I used it because I have PTSD from.
Well, that's why I was bringing it up, because that's all we've been doing is diluting 8CS all this time. And right. You've been doing 5-to-1 ratios. I do 10-to-1 ratios dilutions. Yeah.
Once again, but the dilution also depends, guys, on how the porosity of the hair and its ability to take and let go. And if you've ever been to our toning class, you'll learn that with toning, however long you leave it on, for every minute, that's a shampoo. So if you leave a toner on for 3 minutes, you'll get a beautiful blonde for 3 shampoos. Someone along the line, we all lost our way with this. But toning is an art. We do have a class for it. That's for later on. We'll get into that. But for right now, also the cool part about with All Nutrient is not only does 10CS come in its permanent color line, where you can use it with 10, 20, 25, 30, 40. They also comes in the Keratin line, which is their ammonia-free liquid color. And the spreadability and the toning is fantastic. You could also use it with their DEMI developer or DEMI Plus developer. Now you can ask me the question about the blue developers.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, all right, so it made sense because there was users over there. Over here, we were talking about this earlier. So with All Nutrient, one of the unique things about it is the permanent color, the same tube of color, you mix it with 10, 20, 25, 30, 40 volume, it becomes permanent color. They have an additional developer called CPL, Color Processing Lotion. That the technology in All Nutrient, because it's got half the ammonia and double the dye load, that's that micro protein system, that micro pigmentation system. This, the easiest way to think about it is half the ammonia, double the dye load. Every single shade of color has the ability to cover gray. You don't need to mix it with the N series. Okay. So if you take the CPL, the color processing lotion, and you mix that with the same tube of color that you just made it permanent, will become a demi-permanent in cream form. So that is one of a very unique thing about the All Nutrient color. Now, they've recently came up with CPL Blue, 10 volume blue based and 40 volume blue based developer as well. So that has been in an effort to help further reduce brassiness and warmth during the coloring process. It has been absolutely phenomenal, creatively speaking. You know, technically speaking as well too, it's alleviated a lot of pain and suffering in having to tone and deal with unwanted warmth when highlighting, when lifting. So here is the things that I was doing, like a quick fire round with John. I was kind of discussing it with him. I'm like, okay, 10 CS, now we have it. Awesome. Can you still use it as a permanent color with the cream 10, 20, 30, 40 volume developer? And you said,
yeah, sure you can. And actually what then you're doing is you're creating a blue olive base. Okay? So you're doing 3 parts blue to 1 part olive. So what would that'd be a BBBO base. And olive, you know, olive is more of a green teal. Yeah. So actually that's giving you way more control. For your clients that always, you know, they always come back and go, it was beautiful for the first week and then it went orange. You know, it helps really stamp down on a lot of that warmth. We have a lightning class. We have a lightning class that everybody should come to, where we really get into the blues and the lighteners and things you can do. All I'm going to say is those blue developers have changed the game for me as far as highlighting, as far as high lifts, and also with my clients that this is my favorite thing in the world, and I still remember it from back in the day. You know, you could put a straight ash on some clients. You do their gray touch up. They come back in 4 weeks for their 3 to 4 weeks for their touch up, and they're like, I still see red. You know, it's red. No, the color, you know, there's many reasons why it got a little warm. But so with this, with the blue developers, you're actually just stamping down on that more. And as we know, it's not really red. It's, you know, they're seeing warmth. And but coupled with the 10CS and the blue developer, you can make some really beautiful platinum blondes, which will make your life so much easier, because then also you're kind of pre-toning, you know, or if you're doing it with a toner, you're adding it to the toner, you're just putting that much more longevity into the toner. Because what are most toners based? They're usually either what? Blue, violet, or a combination thereof. Or green, right?
Yeah.
We got to go ahead. I was gonna say we gotta call New Hampshire and talk to them about making a green based a green based toner.
I mean that's practically the Slate series though. It really practically is the Slate series because that blue olive base really technically it's teal, but it really, really, really does come out ashy. I mean, it practically is green to begin with. Now, when you're mixing it with CPL developer, that's still keeping it in a cream form as a toner. And the benefit of using a cream-based toner versus a liquid-based toner, in some cases, what's going to happen is you're going to get more deposit, which could equal more longevity. Or you're going to concentrate more on depth, more on richness. And in some scenarios where you're really trying to knock out that warmth, having that option to be able to use it as a cream, getting more opacity out of your toner would be very, very beneficial. Conversely, if that's not an issue and you're really just going for more vibrancy, or you're really just trying to, you lifted them and you lightened them to that perfect level, you just want to retain that brightness, but you want to knock out some of that warmth and keep that beautiful tone and within that brightness, that's where the liquid, that's where the demi glaze comes in. So having it available 10 CS in Keratint is absolutely phenomenal. And being able to mix that with the demi developer is so simple now because you don't necessarily have to dilute it like how we used to always recommend to dilute the 8 CS, the level 8.
Right.
Level 8 has more pigmentation in it than level 10 does. With that said, you were mentioning earlier, you can still dilute 10 CS and that's fine. It's always going to be subject to porosity. You always want to pay attention to the condition of that hair after you've just exposed that cuticle from lightening. Okay. Lightening and bleaching, there is a difference. We have an entire class that you can attend on highlighting, like you were mentioning, it's a hands-on class. We discussed the differences between lighteners and bleaches. In the lifting action, there is a completely different end result that's getting achieved. And there's so many variables involved in that. The toning, we have a toning mastery program that we really discuss all the different variables involved when it comes to toning because it is complicated. It gets complicated really, really quickly depending on what you're trying to do. It could be simplified. It really could be simplified. And I'll give you a little preview. It's simply this: texture, density, porosity. Those are your three governing factors. That's the only constant that you have. Everything else in hair color becomes variable. Variable in the result you're trying to achieve, variable in the type of the hair that you're working with, variable in the formula that you're intending to mix to try to achieve the result that you're going for. But those three constants, texture, density, and porosity, is always going to rule and dictate what you can and cannot do. And if you fight that, that's where problems always occur. And that's where you always run into issues. So the Demi developer, the Demi Plus developer, when would you recommend to use the Demi versus the Demi Plus? Because for those that are not aware, Demi developer is 1.6%. Demi Plus developer is 3%. It's a little bit more intense. So you're going to get a little bit more movement. You're going to get a little bit more lift. Everybody always makes the mistake of asking what volume is that. The problem with asking what volume is that is there is no ammonia in Keratint. It's ammonia free. So saying arbitrarily, technically speaking, 1.6% could be 5 volume and 3% could be 10 volume. Yeah, if you're trying to activate lift, but when you're dealing with liquid demi-glaze color, you're not dealing with activating ammonia. You're not trying to swell the cuticle. The peroxide's doing all the heavy lifting. And if the peroxide's doing the heavy lifting itself, it's really going to be determined more by the percentage strength of that hydrogen peroxide you're using, not the volume that is being created with ammonia for oxidation purposes.
Right, 100%. With that is it, you're always dealing with the arc of alkalinity, because most hair color starts alkaline and will we'll do that full arc. My hand went over this. Look at that, over the screen. You can't even see it. Hey, no, but
it's too early.
No, I've we're in the middle of Snowmageddon here in Illinois, so I was up early. But anyway, you're always dealing with that the arc of alkalinity, and really without ammonia in it, then you're 100% correct, where you have the developers really doing a lot of most of the lifting, and besides oxidizing the color, it's also helping penetrate into the hair shaft. You're right. You are correct.
So then, is there an instance where the DEMI Plus developer would be better than the DEMI developer?
I think that, once again, it's going to depend on the porosity of the hair. If you, like you and I were talking about, that transitioning that gray-haired client, really transitioning them out of color, or really using it to blend gray. If it's that hard, glassy gray and you don't want that matte coverage, then you're going to want that DEMI Plus, so you have a little more alkalinity. You get a little more penetration into the hair shaft. Yes.
Otherwise, if you just need to tone, just go with the DEMI developer and load it up. You're going to get more deposit. You're going to get more pigment loaded in there, and it's going to knock out that unwanted color. So it's going to work out way better. Now, for news announcements, we are going to be doing the America's Beauty Show this year. ABS. We did it. Don't look so excited. We did it last year. Look, you had way more fun than you want to let on that you had.
Yeah. Only if Dom's there with me.
Dom is going to be back again. I'm trying to pull up the calendar for the events. Do you know when it is this year?
I believe it's the last weekend in April.
So the last weekend of April, the 20th through the 22nd.
And we will be having a classroom.
The 20th through the 22nd. So yeah, so we're going to have classrooms in there, and the classrooms are going to be for on-stage hair extensions, Xenogen, it's Melina, and all nutrient. So four different classes. The other thing that we're doing new this year is we're going to have a stage at the booth, and then that stage we're actually going to be having 6 different types of presentations. We'll have the She hair extensions over there, the onstage hair extensions, the Xenogen, the all nutrient, Melina. Who am I forgetting?
Keratherapy.
And keratherapy. Thank you. Yeah, so we're going to have 6 different presentations going on at the booth. We're going to have 4 different presentations going on in the classrooms. So we're really, really expanding the education this upcoming year over than what we had over last year.
We always outdo ourselves when it comes to ABS. Stop by the booth, say hi. Tell us how much you really don't like our little podcast here.
Hit subscribe twice.
Hit subscribe twice.
It's always my social media thing. If you like what I do, hit it twice, Hit the like twice, hit the dislike twice, hit the subscribe twice. Really tell me what...
Nice.
And then I come to learn that this is undoing
everything.
So then I got a 0 game profit out of it,
Yeah.
So I've gotten absolutely nowhere. I'm spinning in circles. In other education, this upcoming Monday, the 15th, we're going to be doing a low density haircutting class.
Great class.
People who have thin, fine hair, for people who are suffering from excessive shedding, or unfortunately they may have alopecia. So the Xenogen low density haircutting class is a hands-on technique that we teach to show you how to properly build a weight line and proper layering to maximize the fullness in somebody's hair who doesn't have it. So that's what that program is about. Also on that same Monday, we have our 15-minute blow drying program. So it's a bunch of techniques that we show on how to improve the speed and efficiency on your blow dry. I think people spend way, way, way too much time. If you're spending 20, 30 minutes styling hair, in my opinion, I think that's way too much time. Now, I understand there's exceptions to that and people have more hair than what they should, be humanly allowed to have, but that's what the 15-minute program is about. I think that 15-minute program, we developed it because you and I got into an argument over styling.
We did get it. Let's not say argument. Let's just say we had a little, we disagreed.
Okay.
I seem to remember an ergo brush being thrown at me.
Man. So yeah, the following Monday, and then on the Tuesday, the 16th, because now I got to remember we're doing classes 2 days in a row. Tuesday the 16th, we're doing an on-stage hair extensions, flat beaded weft, flat beaded strands application technique. So that's also a hands-on class. The following Monday, the 22nd, January 22nd, is our 20 foil highlighting technique. 20 foils or less. How to properly position, place and this is what we were talking about earlier, the differences between a lightener and a bleach, and how to fold a foil, because I know you love your Christmas packets so much.
Really? He's just poking the bear today. Is it because you're snowed in and you know you're not leaving the house?
My snowblower is not working, so I'm gonna have to physically shovel everything today. So yeah,
I wish I lived close to you so I could just drive by and wave.
No, so you could do like the snow plow. My favorite is when I get to the end of the driveway and I get everything done, the plow just comes and blasts everything halfway up the driveway again. I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing.
Yep. I get
also,
that.
on the 22nd, we have our toning mastery program that we were also talking about earlier. What we've changed this year for the toning mastery program is not only are we going to talk about the technology, the science, and the creative application behind toning, we're actually coming up with 5 to 6 formulas per month, per class, that we're sharing with everybody as well. And those formulas are what you and I discuss back and forth on what we have fun with during the week on clients. You can give a little insight to our phone call conversation. Because that's literally why we come up with the formulas we come up with for the it's literally the reason why we share the formulas we do in our classes, is based on our phone call conversations.
The phone rings or I call you and it's like, all right, look, I'm dealing with this and she won't let me shave her head, so I got to fix it. Or what do I do with this? And we go back and forth for like 5 minutes. I have a lot of clients right now that are always like, "Oh, are you going to call Eddie?" Because they think you're funny.
You have to tell me I'm on speaker. Watch my mouth, right?
You guys are hilarious. You guys should go on the road with this or something. And then I have to tell them we actually kind of are on the road with this. But it's a lot of information back and forth because we're nerds. We're color nerds and hair nerds, and it's what we do. And we've come up with some great formulas. I mean, I remember when back not that long ago when we actually figured out how to make an oil bleach out of powder.
Oh, that's not official. That is.
I know it's not official, so we can't give it. But just to give you
made up.
Just to give you the scope of what our conversations go on, happen. But and it's for everything. It's not only color. It's haircuts. It's I find myself very lucky that, like I called you last week, I have my emotional support Eddie. Most people have their emotional support dogs. I have my Eddie. The only problem is the airlines get really mad when I bring them in a kennel.
Such a goofball. So that's
But
that's where we come up with a lot of our formulas, and that's where we come up with a lot of these programs. Because if I call you asking you for advice, or you're calling me asking me for advice, and we feel pretty confident and pretty good about our abilities, what is everybody else suffering through, and do they have somebody to call? You know,
right.
So that's we've really become a resource for a lot of hairdressers, you know, and that's why we have our private group on Facebook. It's why we have our technical support at HTB Beauty. It's why we have the thousands of stylists that we deal with year over year. And we help, you know, we're trying to help everybody out. On Tuesday, the 23rd, we have a keratin bond, a hands-on keratin bond technique class. And then on Monday, the 29th, we have a new technology, a new product, a new technology that's using tourmaline to do reconstructing, to do smoothing, and to do conditioning. And I know that that's been your little pet project. That's been your labor of love this year.
Melina has changed my world. I encourage everybody, if you're doing any kind of smoothing, or if you're treatment heavy, this is your product. I've gone through just the boost, which is just their would you like to, what would you call it? Their blowout version, or their quick service version.
I think it's their temporary service.
Yeah.
It's 4 to 6 weeks.
I have done. I've gone through 3 tubs of it.
Nice.
I've turned so many people onto it, and now, because it's been 6 weeks, now I've got appointments now for it again. I put it on the menu. I put it on my product menu, and it's I can't even put into words really. I'm still struggling with exactly what to call it. I mean, the label says one thing, but it is so much more than what's on the label.
Well, you have until January 29th to figure it out.
I mean, guys, it'll actually, for lack of a better term right now, heal the hair. You know, we in the class we use this term. One of the best way to describe it is, for those of you that live in the northern climes, especially those of us that live in Illinois. I mean, right now we're dealing with a foot of snow. The snow plows are out and they chew the roads up. And come springtime, I mean, if you drive a small car, you see small cars get lost in some of the potholes. And what this product does with the tourmaline and the vegan base to it is it actually fills in all the potholes, and the hair feels so amazing. The elasticity is amazing. I can't say, you know what? Come to the class. Let us educate you really on it.
That's Monday, January 29th. And then Tuesday, the 30th, we're doing a program on keratin depletion and how keratin-infused retail products can really help repair, fix, and maintain, bring back weight into the hair that's been lost due to heavy keratin depletion. So that's our program loadout through the rest of the month. And again, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is being reserved for personal coaching, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's small groups. You know, that's the availability for the rest of this month. Check us out at our website, htbbeauty.com/classes, and you'll be able to see, and you'll also be able to sign up for each of these programs that we're talking about. And you can see a little bit more detail about it. If you want to get a hold of us, htbbeauty.com, hit the, contact us, message us directly, or call our office, 847-741-5000. Ask for me, ask for John. If we're at the office, we'll get on the phone. Obviously, if it's not, you know, they'll just transfer the call to our cell phones directly. If we're not at the office, then we're behind the chair. But either way, we're always answering our phones. And just like you said, clients love it when we're having our conversations with other stylists, especially when we're having our conversations with each other. So it's what we do. It's really, really what we do. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Let us know in the comments what kind of education you guys want to see. In addition to what we already have, a lot of our programs are based on feedback. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you all next week.